It now costs $3.4 million to live the American dream, and the gap between the wealthy and the rest of us is getting bigger than ever, according to Michael Snyder. For a long time, it's been clear that the middle class is being systematically destroyed. The cost of living has been rising faster than paychecks have for years, and this has pushed millions of Americans into poverty. As for those who are already impoverished, many of them have been pushed out into the streets. According to the Wall Street Journal, homelessness in the United States is increasing at the fastest rate ever recorded in 2023. Anyone that thinks that we do not have a major problem in our hands simply is not paying attention. At one time, living the American dream was a goal that the vast majority of Americans could aspire to achieve, but now it's out of reach for most of the country. In fact, a report that was just released concluded that it now takes $3.4 million for the typical U.S. household to live the American dream over the course of a lifetime. The so-called American dream is a benchmark that many people hope to achieve in their lifetime, getting married, buying a home and a car, and raising children. But new analysis has found that achieving these milestones now costs a staggering $3.455 million, much more than most Americans will make in their lifetime. One of the biggest amounts is for paying off a mortgage and property on a property, and the average home buyer will fork out $769,998 according to Investopedia, assuming a 10% down payment and a 30-year fixed loan at 7.2% interest. Are you going to make $3.4 million during your working years? If not, the American dream is not for you. Sorry. Today, it's only those that are at the very top of the economic food chain that are thriving. Once upon a time, America had the largest and most prosperous middle class in the history of the world, but now the top 1% controls more wealth than the entire middle class. 30 years ago, America's celebrated middle class commanded twice as much wealth as the upper 1%. Over the years, the rich have grown steadily richer. The top 1% caught and passed the middle class in collective wealth in late 2020, Fed data shows. The top 1% of American earners now control more wealth than the nation's entire middle class. This is what happens when power and wealth are highly centralized. The gap between the wealthy and the rest of us is now bigger than ever, so good luck trying to live a middle-class lifestyle in this environment. Do you want to buy a couch? Well, the exact same couch that will have cost you $799 back in 2019 will now cost you over twice as much. Well, yeah, exactly twice as much, $1,599. The interior designer has revealed an IKEA couch that used to cost $799 in 2019, now double the price 4 years later. Jillian D., a small business owner based in Los Angeles, went viral on TikTok after switching a video about a Swedish furniture giant crazy's prices. Mark, a construction and home decor expert, pointed out that IKEA's Finale sofa and chair now cost a whopping $1,599, saying he won't pay more than $700 for it. And don't even get me started on the price of food. Beef is already considered to be a luxury meat, and it is going to be even more expensive in 2024 because the USDA is projecting that beef production will be way down. The USDA projects beef production will be down by 180 million pounds over a 6-month period by the end of 2023, while the Insider noted that the average size of herds is at 61-year record lows as farmers struggle to feed their animals. A lot of our neighbors are selling. The cattle values in general are worth more than they've ever been worth before, and quite frankly, they're worth more than what we are having to pay for hay, Kent told the FT. And we're being warned that supplies of many other products in our grocery stores will be getting tighter as well. As we prepare to step into 2024, it's important to know what changes are to come over the next year, including the changes that might come to the selection of items at grocery stores. In 2023, we faced scarcity of several products, from toilet paper to sriracha, and now there are a few other items that may become harder to find over the next 12 years. Factors like environmental changes, labor shortages, and more could pose a risk to the availability, quality, and affordability of certain spices, dairy products, eggs, seafood, grains, fresh produce, and meat and poultry. Of course, there are some things that you won't be able to get at all. Members of Congress have been told that drug shortages in the United States recently reached a record high, and this is a problem that is not going away anytime soon. Drug shortages in the U.S. have hit a record high, and lawmakers warn they could mean life or death for millions of patients. A House committee is investigating what Congress can do to the supply chain to make sure doctors won't have to keep rationing essential drugs like cancer treatments. Health experts agree the shortages of hundreds of generic drugs need urgent attention, but they're still trying to build consensus on a remedy. If you go to the official FDA drug shortage list, you'll see that there are 143 entries right now, and some of the drugs that are in short supply are used millions of times each year. Critical shortages in the U.S. include albuterol, an asthma and allergy medication used to prevent and treat breathing difficulty; amoxicillin, a crucial antibiotic used to treat bacterial infections, including pneumonia, which is seeing rising cases in the U.S., epinephrine or adrenaline, a drug used to treat life-threatening conditions like severe allergic reaction. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, there were 54 million prescriptions written for amoxicillin in 2019. In 2020, nearly 62 million albuterol prescriptions were handed out. I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. This is a crisis. In some cases, the lives of American kids are being put in danger because they can't get the drugs that they desperately need. One teenage lymphoma patient from Indiana was forced to take a type of chemotherapy that had previously led to a life-threatening allergic reaction because the medication he had tolerated was out of stock. Another Florida-based mother of a 9-year-old girl with aggressive leukemia was told to expect a 15-month wait for a $10 drug that would save the young girl's life. So why is this happening? Well, there are many factors that are contributing to this nightmare, but one of the biggest is the fact that we have become so dependent on China and India. Another factor driving the problem is the U.S. reliance on key materials from China and India to make 95% of medicines used in emergency care. We should have never allowed this to happen, but we did. And now we'll pay a very great price. If you think that shortages are bad now, just wait until China invades Taiwan. Things will get really crazy at that point. So I would very much encourage you to prepare in advance for the chaotic times that are rapidly approaching. But unfortunately, most Americans still believe that everything will work out just fine somehow. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, And any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Schneider. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.